Okay, so Penny has seemed a little bit more rambunctious than she has in the past several days that we've worked together, which isn't really abnormal for a puppy, right? They have times where they get really excited and kind of hyperactive and stuff. And while that might seem like they just need to burn a lot of energy, oftentimes this can mean that maybe they're a little too tired, or, just like, toddlers and stuff like that, a lot of times they get a little bit fussy. So that's when we see what seems like hyper behavior. So what we really need to do in those moments is we have the option to either give them a break in a crate or in a secure room, or behind a baby gate, or we can just give them a calming activity to do to kind of slow down their system a bit. So what I've done the last couple of minutes is I've thrown a bunch of pieces of kibble all over the floor for her to find. And this is such a good way to calm her down. I've noticed a lot of really good stuff from this the few times that I've done it. So she's using her nose to find all these pieces of kibble. So it's kind of confidence building for her because she's learning that she has the power to find reinforcers on her own. She's good at things. And it's also a way to slow down her system because it's almost like deep breathing for dogs. The more they use their nose, generally the more relaxed they are. Yes, good girl. So now she's coming up to me and sitting, whereas before she was just running up to me as soon as we came in here and jumping all over me. She actually was biting on my pants for the first time, which isn't unusual for a puppy to do. But we don't really want her to practice that behavior, right? We don't want her to learn that she can just run over and nip people and stuff like that. So decide on what you want to do. If you want to do like a treat puzzle or something like that. Let me shut off my walkie. If you wanted to do a treat puzzle, a Kong wobbler, if you want to throw her kibble in the yard. For my dogs, I use their kibble all day long while we're training, and at the end of the day, whatever kibble I have left, I either put it in a Kong wobbler for them to play with the Kong and get all the treats out, or I throw all the kibble in the backyard for them to sniff around and find, which is just a nice calming way to end the evening. It's mentally stimulating, it's confidence building, so there's a lot of things you can do. What I want to talk about now is, now that she's starting to get more comfortable with me, she's starting to do a little bit more hopping up on me, which again, that's normal behavior for a puppy, but dogs learn when they are young what behaviors they find reinforcing, and they tend to stick to those behaviors and they become harder to break as they get older. So we really want her to learn that sitting gets her attention and laying down gets her attention, gets her treats, things like that. So it's really not reinforcing for her to jump up on us. And some people suggest that they want the dog to be able to jump up on cue, but that's something I recommend really not teaching until they're older if you want her to jump up at all. So we really want her default behavior to be sitting. And then if we reinforce her automatically sitting frequently, that becomes kind of her way to say please. We call that sit to say please. So the more you reinforce her offering that, the more she's going to come up to you when she needs to go outside. The more she's going to come up to you when she's hungry and stuff, instead of getting dogs that want to jump up and bark and things like that. So reinforce that sit in a variety of different contexts, in as many contexts as you can. If you notice her sitting, that's a good decision. So we want to reinforce it. And eventually when she gets older, we're not going to have to reinforce her when she sits, so often. But in the next series of videos, I'll talk a little bit about other exercises you can do to make that sit really reinforcing and curb some of the jumping. So, take a break.